Okay, so when I was in 10th grade, this popular senior was throwing a party and he invited everyone from school, including me. So of course my single ass went expecting at least a kiss from a guy or something. And so when I got there, a bunch of cute ass guys were there and some of them were getting in the pool, so I was like, damn. But I went to hang out with my friends for a while. We were having fun and shit until one of the mean, ugly, shriveled up dog shit ass mean girls got there. No one really liked her or her friends, but they were scared of her. I could care less about that bitch, but people made a big deal of her, so I just never really spoke to her. She dated one of the popular guys and was the sister of another popular guy, so she was pretty well known around school and stuff. So anyways, her and her little friend started messing with people at the party and basically embarrassing those people. I don't know why this bitch thought it was a good idea to come my way, but she did. She started talking about how my little sister got hit by a car and how it should have been me, and so we started arguing. Then she poured her drink on me. And just as I was about to hit the bitch, her fine-ass brother came to see what was going on.
One time in 8th grade, my teacher introduced the new kid in our class. His name was Greg, and when I tell you he was fine as fuck, I really mean it, he was fine as fuck. The teacher asked me to show Greg around the school since I was done with my work, and I was like, sure. Me and Greg were then walking in the hall together alone, so I decided to spark up some conversation. I told him about our school and which people to avoid and everything. He then asked me for my Snapchat because he wanted to talk to me more, so I gave it to him and we started talking for a few months. Then I confessed my feelings to him at the school dance last week, and now we're dating. He was a really good boyfriend, so I decided to introduce him to my parents. The next day after school, me and Greg walked together to my house to meet my parents. My mom saw him and started freaking out. I asked why she was acting all weird, and she said it was because Greg is my 5th cousin. We stood there shocked and started screaming at each other. We instantly broke up and agreed to never mention it to anyone because we strutted and nutted so many times before I introduced him to my parents, and now I'm in nut rehab.
In 8th grade, I got lucky enough to have a teacher named Mr. T. Everybody wanted to be in one of his classes, but I never understood why until I was put in one. I loved his class so much because he would make Musical.ly videos. With us, this story takes place when Musical.ly still existed, of course. One day my friend Mike and I were standing by his desk getting some extra help for the class, and we saw his computer password when he typed it in, and he didn't notice that his password was visible. That day after school, Mike came over to my house. We popped open a bag of chips, and we tried using his school computer password to log into his Musical.ly. The shock on both of our faces when the password actually worked was insane. We went through all of his drafts and saw some pretty scarring things like the Grind on Me challenge. No student should have to see that challenge done by their teacher. But getting into his account was so fun, and Mike and I still go on it sometimes.
So 2 days ago I was at my friend's house sleeping, and when we were about to sleep she covered herself in a huge blanket even though it's summer, and I heard her touching her cat face. I got scared, so I pretended to be asleep. Then she started to moan, but very quietly, and I stood up. She got nervous and asked me why I wasn't asleep, and I told her a mosquito woke me up. Then I asked her what she was doing and she said, oh, nothing, so I pretended like nothing happened and went to sleep. Now I'm scared because I'm going to her house for 2 to 3 days because my parents are going on a little travel. What do I do, y'all? I haven't been to the toilet in 4 days and it was starting to worry me, so I went to the doctor's. I arrived and the doctor felt my stomach and said it was very hard. He wanted me to take a stool sample, which means you have to shit in the cup. I had coffee for breakfast, so I was pretty much ready to go. I grabbed the cup and went to the toilet and held it up to my ass and started pushing. I didn't realize how badly coffee affected me, and the next thing you know, a strong gust of diarrhea started blasting out of my ass and I felt like a rocket ready for takeoff. I grabbed onto the door for balance because I started levitating and the cup was already full, but I couldn't stop. I was holding onto the door for dear life and the shit was spitting out like a shotgun. I eventually stopped and looked at the glass cup of my shit and there were cracks all over the glass. I heard the desk lady shouting for everyone to get under the chair and to call the police. I got scared thinking what is going on outside, so I quickly cleaned myself up and rushed out of the bathroom to see everyone crying and hiding under the chairs because they thought there was an active shooter in the building. I said it was just my shit and everyone got up. Anyways, I have bowel cancer. Back when Fortnite was still a good game, my twin sister had all her friends over for a sleepover. There were 4 of them, not including my sister. So I was in the basement playing Fortnite on my Xbox and my sister and her friends came down to just chill and stuff. So I was sitting on the floor with my head up against the couch and they all came and sat on the couch, and one of them sat right behind my head, like right between her legs, and she started playing with my hair. My sister was like, "What are you doing?" and her friends were just like, "It's fine, you don't own your brother." So I was just like, but I didn't really mind. It was just weird because my sister was right there. So for the next couple hours I'm just hanging out with them and showing them how to play Fortnite and shit. So then my sister and one of her friends went upstairs to go to sleep. So now I'm just left here alone with 3 of her friends. So they were just talking about how they were bored and stuff, and one of them said she had an idea. She said we should play strip Fortnite. So I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But at the same time I was feeling some type of way, lol. So they asked if I wanna play and at first I was like IDK because what if my sister came back down, but eventually I gave in. I mean, what type of guy would say no to that unless they are gay? So the rules of the game were whenever you get a kill everybody else has to take one piece of clothing off. This was back when Fortnite recently. I haven't been to the toilet in 4 days and it was starting to worry me, so I went to the doctors. I arrived and the doctor felt my stomach and said it was very hard. He wanted me to take a stool sample, which means you have to shit in the cup. I had coffee for breakfast, so I was pretty much ready to go. I grabbed the cup and went to the toilet and held it up to my ass and started pushing. I didn't realize how badly coffee affected me, and the next thing you know, a strong gust of diarrhea started blasting out of my ass and I felt like a rocket ready for takeoff. I grabbed onto the door for balance because I started levitating and the cup was already full, but I couldn't stop. I was holding onto the door for dear life and the shit was spitting out like a shotgun. I eventually stopped and looked at the glass cup of my shit and there were cracks all over the glass. I heard the desk lady shouting for everyone to get under the chair and to call the police. I got scared thinking what is going on outside, so I quickly cleaned myself up and rushed out of the bathroom to see everyone crying and hiding under the chairs because they thought there was an active shooter in the building. I said it was just my shit and everyone got up. Anyways, I have bowel cancer. One time when I was at a friend's house, we were prank calling and we decided to call our local strip club. We called them and asked them what you have to do to become a stripper, and she told us the requirements and pay and more. She asked if we were 18 or older and we said we were 17 about to turn 18. At this point she was telling us to come in and do an interview. We eventually told her we were kids and she hung up and we got a call from a different number. It was her mobile phone and she had our address and our parents' number. We were scared so we hung up, but my friend was terrified that she would call her parents and her parents were strict. We blocked both numbers and went to bed. When I was in 9th grade we had a substitute teacher. Let me tell you, he was so fine. All the girls were over him. Mind you, he was at least 25 or older. Since it was a sub, everyone thought they could do whatever. So everyone took out their phones and started messing around. But he wasn't having it, so he took everyone's phones and put them in a bucket. He also made us beg for them back until we were so tired we couldn't even talk. Once class was over he told me to stay. I just stood there not knowing what to do, but then he said, "Since you were the only one not using your phone, I want to give you a special surprise, but you can't tell anyone, got it?" And then that's when I knew what he was doing. So I'm Debbie and this is my story. One day I was in my English class watching a movie about Shakespeare. I had beans and coffee before school, the most deadliest combination. It wasn't even that long before my stomach started rumbling when I got into class. The movie was really loud and I sat at the back of the class, so I thought it would be my perfect chance to let out the most bubbly fart so no one could hear it over the sound of the movie. As soon as I was about to do it, my teacher paused the movie to explain a scene, and that's when I let out the most soggy doggy, butchered froggy, shit comes out loggy, made the room foggy, so loud you would think it was the 4th of July. I swear to God, one kid sitting next to the window opened the blinds because he thought he heard a thunderstorm outside. I dropped my books on the floor in hope of a save, thinking that people would have thought the sound was my books dropping. But that's when the creamy lumps fell out of my pants onto the floor. I ran out crying to the bathroom and called my mom, and she took me home and got me new clothes. I had to go back to school the next day and everyone was laughing at me and was calling me Diarrhea Debbie. When I was little I used to force myself to burp on command. My mom always told me to stop, but I never listened and I thought I was so talented and amazing. Well, one day I went into school and I was having a normal day, just going around doing my burps. After lunch, towards the end of the day, I was just doing a quiz we got told to do. When I finished I went to take it to my teacher. Me being the gross ass kid I am, I wanted to show her my burping talent. I told her I had a special talent and she asked to see it because she was just kind like that. So there I was just showing her all my burps, until the last one where I burped and I vomited all over my teacher's face. I got called to the principal's office and sent home, where my mom beat my ass.